I am Rusty Wallace. You're on the AT8 network, and the next round starts now.
Hello and welcome to our broadcast of the 2017 Fall iDrive Series here at the Gateway Carplex in Madison, Illinois. Tonight is the final round and the drivers are set to take the track in the backwards direction. We have 13 drivers registered to race tonight and they will compete in one block. And within that one block of racers, we have a few special guests including Ignite racers Evan Stammer and Eric Lodicke and last season's third place finisher Brian Walker. Everyone else has been competing in the fall series pretty consistently, so without further ado, let's take a quick look here at the points after their previous 6 rounds of racing. The top spot all season long has been locked down by Brendan Lauer with 1,232 points. He's been a dominating force all season long and he's performed well during the spring series backwards finale, so he's looking to ride off into the sunset tonight as your 2017 Fall iDrive Series champion. On Brendan's tail is Bobby Krug, who currently sits 47 points behind. It is possible for Krug to catch Lauer, but it would take a great night for Krug and a poor performance by Lauer, which would be very contrary to what we've seen this season. The battle is similar for the third place spot as Austin Russell is currently occupying third with 1,086 points. Russell did well in his practice session earlier, and that will hopefully translate to performance on the racetrack tonight. But he'll have to fight off Micah Floretta, who is 49 points behind him. Floretta has the experience at this track, but does he have enough to overcome a 49-point deficit? The remaining top 10 consists of Adam Ward, Scott McClendon Jr., Gary Faulkner, who actually no longer runs in the light class. He will be competing in the heavy class tonight, Scott Faulkner, Jared Hester, and in the 10th spot will be Ryan Josie. And as I usually do, I'm going to make my pick for this round's Fight to Fight, Driver to Watch. And for this round, I'm going to go with Mr. Brendan Lauer, as he is your current leader in the points. He currently holds the lap record in the backwards direction, and he has looked strong in practice. Look for him to fight his way to the top, but it's not going to be easy for him, as he has a lot of really fast, hard, competitive drivers in this pack tonight. We are going to be set for a great race here tonight, and Brendan Lauer is going to be one of the guys to definitely keep your eyes on. So once again, Brendan Lauer is your Fight to Fight, driver to watch for round 7. And with that, let's throw it down to the track for the first heat of the night. And the drivers have just finished up qualifying, so we're about to get them set up on the grid for the first race of the night. As we see the fingers being pointed to the first row here, let's take a look at your starting grid presented by ATA Network. And there's no surprise with this row 1, Evan Stammer and Brendan Lauer. Stammer pulling out an impressive 38.582 pole time. As we'll take a look here, row 2 will be Jared Hester and Micah Floretta. That qualifying spot for Micah and that kart selection is crucial for his fight for the third place spot. In row 3, actually Brian Walker will not be starting there. He has elected to give up that spot and respect for the people that are fighting for points, so Bobby Krug will actually be lining up on the inside, but we'll just keep following the starting order like it is. Scott Faulkner to the inside, Eric Lodkey to the outside, and then we'll go back to row 5. Scott McClendon Jr. and Adam Ward, two drivers that are really great at this track, and Adam Ward will be the first time he goes backwards. In row 6 will be Patrick Schmooke and Ryan Josie. And then we'll see in row 7, starting all the way in the back of the pack, not great, Austin Russell, who's currently third in points like we saw, and Micah Floretta is in row 2, so that's going to be crucial for their fight there. And we'll take a look here. We got a couple onboard cameras as we saw. Austin Russell will be carrying the STL Motorsport Magazine onboard camera. Bobby Krug will be carrying the McKay Napa Auto Parts 20 stores serving the St. Louis area onboard camera. And then we have Eric Lodkey, who has the What's That Like podcast onboard camera. This one will actually be mounted on the kart, so we'll get to actually feel the vibrations of what actually the drivers are feeling out on the track. And Adam Ward will have our Fight the Fight clothing that inspires onboard camera. And last but not least, our one half of the pole, Brendan Lauer, will be having the Jimmy John's Freaky Fast onboard camera. Keith Scharf is going to be getting ready to wave the green flag here to start off our race tonight. Thumbs up, and the flag is out. The green flag waves, and we are underway here for 12 laps going backwards here at the Gateway Kartplex, as we're going to see the drivers start diving down here into the North Pole turns. This turn is tricky, as they almost look like they were going 3 wide in some spots. Looks like everybody gets out pretty clean. As you see there, Stammer and Hester really taking off from the rest of the pack there. Brendan Lauer, pretty big gap there from third. As we see, Hester goes backwards and he spins out. So does Austin Russell. He's going to collect Ryan Josie. And oh man, we saw, and he's going to be stuck up on that strip. That's not going to be good. Yellow flag was out for a brief second, but now we're going green again. He's not going to get his spot back, or they're not going to let him catch back up. That's a big hit right there to the points. Austin Russell coming in tonight has your third place position in the points. That's going to take a big hit if Micah keeps performing like he is currently in the third place spot. Took that from Krug, as we'll ride on board here with Eric Lodkey. As you can see what I'm talking about, where you'll see the vibrations and how bumpy the track can be. We don't really get that sense in the helmet cams, as Brendan Lauer is getting battled there for that second place spot by Micah Floretta. Micah's got a good kart tonight, and with that incident just happening there with Austin Russell, this might be his time to shine and really make up the lost ground on him. Right on board here with Bobby Krug. The battle for that first place spot isn't as significant as we made it seem on the pre-race show, as you've seen Bobby Krug and Brendan Lauer. Brendan has so many first place finishes that his drops are really, not much to him. He'll be left with a lot of first place finishes, where Bobby Krug's got a lot of seconds and thirds. But the battle between Micah and Austin, their results are so scattered up and down the board that tonight is really going to be the huge deciding factor. Austin Russell does have the advantage with his 49-point difference, but if Micah can pretty much duplicate what he's doing right now for Heat 2, this might be Micah's time to shine. Right on board here with Adam Ward. He's had a great season. First time walking into the iDrive series. He's learned a lot from the older guys here at the track, and he's proved himself to be a force to be reckoned with in the 2018 season, as he's following right behind Scott McClendon Jr., who also shows the similar promise for the 2018 season. And Evan Stammer the real class of the field right now, as he's got a pretty good gap over Brendan Lauer, and Brendan's starting to try to pull a gap there on Micah Floretta as we ride on board with him on his Jimmy John's freaky fast onboard camera. And this track, oh, and there he goes, sideways. That's not going to be good for him, and that also is going to collect Scott McClendon Jr. What a devastation there for those two drivers. Brendan Lauer actually was one of the guys that everyone was watching out for last season in the backwards direction, and now he's spun out, which is going to allow Krug to move up one position, and a lot of positions in between those two. A lot of points implications going on right now in this race, as we are almost halfway through. That was insane. It's that turn 3 that everyone's getting really caught up and loose on. Same spot where Austin Russell got it. And now that's going to happen to Brendan Lauer, as Bobby Krug is now going to chase Micah Floretta for that second place spot. But right on Bobby Krug's tail is Eric Lotteke now. Not very active here in the iDrive series, but before today's race he was testing out his Ignite kart in the normal direction. So he's had a lot of seat time today. Don't know if that's going to play effect. We see Bobby Krug is going to reel up to the back there of Micah Floretta, give him a little bump. I'd say Bobby Krug has the light advantage to where he can actually get straightaway speed on Micah, but Micah's got the technicalities down of the turns. Bobby Krug's going to look to the inside here at turn 1. He's going to do a crossover, and so will Micah. They're going to be side by side. We're right on board here with Eric Lotteke. He's got that What's That Like podcast onboard camera, as he's going to kind of squeeze by both drivers. Shoots to the inside there in the North Pole turns. That's going to move Lotteke up to the second place spot. Krug still sitting there in third. He's going to try getting right past Lotteke again. Shooting to the inside here in turn 3. He's going to get loose. Shoots back up the track. Lotteke does the same move that Micah did in turn 1 with the crossover. They're still going to be side by side here as they go towards turn 1. Let's see what's going to happen here. Lotteke gets a really good run through that inside. Swings it out wide. He's going to take the second place spot at the completion of lap 8. And this battling for that second place spot is going to allow Evan Steimer to pull an even bigger lead. Bobby Krug dives in front of Lotteke, and that's going to move them both up the track. Micah Floretta is back to their second place spot. We got a hell of a battle here going on for the second place spot. And they've kept it relatively clean. I mean, we've seen a little bit of bumping and back and forth. Lotteke's going back to the inside of Krug, going to take the third place spot from him. All these drivers battling for points, except for Lotteke, who's really just here to have a good time. But Micah and Bobby are really just going at it here. As we see, Faulkner looks like he's now in the mix too. Brendan Lauer still really hasn't regathered himself after that slide. He looks like he's right behind Adam Ward. It's pretty amazing to see Brendan Lauer have such a mistake like that happen to him, especially on his backwards track. This was his thing. As we see Austin Russell being battled here with Patrick Schmooky. I'm not sure if this is for position or not. Austin Russell also an awful night for him as well. But that could all change in Heat 2. The night is definitely not over with. Also pretty surprising to see Brian Walker come back in his return and be as far back as he is, as the white flag waves out for Evan Steimer. Micah Floretta's got second place at the line, but Bobby Krug is trying to catch back up to him. Lotteke's got a pretty good gap to Krug, so I don't think he's going to end up being a factor for that second place spot unless they get together. Krug and Floretta, if they tangle up. We see a kart stop down low on the track. I believe that is Patrick Schmooky there. Don't know if he's got some kind of kart issue. Must be. But Evan Steimer, he's going to be smooth sailing here as he's going to take the checkered flag tonight. Krug dive to the inside of Micah Floretta there. Micah's got the better line, but Krug's going to try doing a crossover move, and he's not going to have enough. Micah Floretta's going to take the second place finish. Krug third. Lodicki will be in fourth. And then we'll be able to see the rest of the finishing order there. Tough break for the guys such as Brendan Lauer and Austin Russell. Hopefully they will be able to make up some ground here in Heat 2.
Hey, good luck, man.
Good luck, buddy.
If I can help you out anyway, I'm going to try to.
Yeah, you just run your race. Do what you do.
Good luck, man. Good luck. I just want to say good luck, man. And I'll meet you at the 90.
I don't want to die tonight.
Good luck.
Bobby! For fuck's sake!
It didn't. There it goes. You need to tighten it up. It's really loose. Should be good.
They already started driving.
Oh, really? Sorry.
And the drivers are getting gridded up for the second race of the night. So let's take a quick look at your starting grid presented by ATA Network. And starting on the front row, Evan Stammer with his dominating performance from Heat 1. He will start first. Micah Floretta will start alongside of him. Behind them in row 2 will be Bobby Krug to the inside and Eric Lodicki to the outside. Behind them in row 3 will be Scott Faulkner, and the Faulkners outside will be Adam Ward. Adam Ward will be having our onboard camera. In row 4 will be Brendan Lauer and Jared Hester. Brendan Lauer going to try gathering himself up to work himself back up to the top spot. In row 5 will be Brian Walker and Ryan Josie. Behind them in row 6 is going to be Austin Russell and Scott McClendon Jr. Austin Russell also going to try gathering the broken pieces of the first heat. And then starting behind them will be Patrick Schmooky. Should be interesting to see how this second race plays out. Like we've been saying, there's a lot of points implications that are going to be going on. And it all depends on those 4 drivers, Bobby Krug, Micah Floretta, Brendan Lauer, and Austin Russell for our podium and the points. Brendan Lauer, Bobby Krug battle, not so much. But this Russell and Floretta battle is huge. We will ride on board here with Austin Russell at the very start of the race to get that view, and we'll be able to see if drivers actually get any more loose and spin out. That's another thing we've been surprised to see, is how many drivers are actually getting loose out here on this surface. This is a cooler track than what we dealt with when it was pretty much during the summer when we ran the spring finale, so we got a really cold track. Backwards was really loose in the summertime as well, so this cold track is just a really bad mix for all the drivers. And the green flag waves. Brendan Lauer doesn't get a great start there, kind of throws his hands up for some reason. Neither does Austin Russell, as they're going to go through the North Pole relatively clean, it looks like. Most of the drivers are double file or single file. Ryan Josie going to try making it 3 wide there. And Austin Russell just seems like be dropping back like a rock almost, which might be a good thing. Everyone gets through turns 3 as well. The North Pole and turn 3 just seem to be the worst turns tonight. Bobby Krug getting a decent run on Evan Stammer. That we have not seen anybody able to contend with Evan Stammer. Last time he came out, it was Brendan Lauer who had to battle with him, and Evan Stammer broke his streak. As we see, Bobby Krug's going to pull alongside, duck down behind Evan Stammer. Might be a change of pace here to what we've been seeing here with Evan Stammer. If Bobby Krug can keep up this pace, he's going to duck back down. He's going to be on this outside going into turn 2 as they head towards turn 1. Might try doing another crossover move. Still be able to keep it up with there. That's pretty good to see Bobby Krug be able to stay there with Evan Stammer. This might actually end up being a pretty decent battle for the first place spot. We're so used to seeing Evan Stammer just kind of pull away, but he may not have to. He may not be able to pull away tonight. Oh, Krug gets sideways. It was just and Micah Floretta as well. Both drivers that didn't spin out pretty much. The two drivers that we were watching that didn't spin out decided to spin out now for Heat 2. That's going to move Adam Ward up to the second place spot. Krug only falls back one position. He didn't really lose it completely. He only seemed to do a 180 and go over the strip there. We got another driver backwards. That's going to be Scott McClendon Jr. in the North Pole turns. As we see Austin Russell, that's going to slow Brian Walker up. Austin Russell's going to try battling Brian Walker. Every position matters. He also gets the other position from Scott McClendon Jr. spinning out. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. This track has proven to be a track that needs to be tamed. We're right on board here with Adam Ward here. Going over the strip there at the 90. Really cool camera angle. We get to actually ride on board with the karts. As you can see the difference between how nice and smooth the helmet cams look compared to what it's like to actually ride on the karts. It's very bumpy out there on the track. It is a relatively smooth surface, but you still got your bumps, especially right there where you got the ceramic buttons, as some people like to call them. Everyone runs over. That's another thing that's a little bit different compared to our summer track. They actually used a barrier and blocked up those bumps in turn 3. As we see, speaking of bumps, Bobby Krug gives a nice solid bump to the back of Adam Ward to get past him. And that's going to put him in second place for the meantime. As we saw, Krug does have a lot of speed there in his kart, as he was able to contend there with Mr. Evan Stammer. And they've got pretty much a freight train behind him. Let's see if Adam Ward can get back behind Krug. As you see, he runs over the bumps. Tries swinging it in nice, but it looks like Bobby Krug might start pulling off away from him. We go back to the battle there between Brian Walker and Austin Russell. As we see here, Evan Stammer just pulling away from these guys once again. Krug doing a nice job putting the slide into the North Pole turns. Looks like he's got that pretty much locked down. As we see Patrick Schmooky and Brian Walker side by side. Brian Walker isn't going to clear him. Smooky's going to get a nice little run on the outside line. Russell's going to try sitting back and hopefully take advantage of whatever would happen to these guys. Gets a little loose, swings it out wide, but he's able to hold on to it. As now he's going to go after Mr. Patrick Schmooky. He's going to dive to the inside. Unfortunately got a little hung up there on the strip and the back of Schmooky's kart. Otherwise that would have been a nice 3-wide pass and +2 positions for Austin Russell. What an awesome night this has been for the viewers, people watching these races. But I guarantee you, most of the drivers out here that are on the balance for points are all just so totally stressed out. Especially the driver we ride on board with right now. We see the gap there has definitely increased between Adam Ward and Bobby Krug. Bobby Krug definitely pulling away. Not sure if he's gaining on Evan Stammer. I would assume there would either be a maintain or a gain between the two drivers. You see Austin Russell was battling Patrick Schmooky, but now he's going to run with Mr. Scott McClendon Jr., who's going to give him the advantage. That was nice of Scott to do that for him. I guess he understands what kind of point situation he is in. And it's not going to matter because Austin Russell goes sideways once again. What a heartbreak for Austin Russell. I believe that is the third time of the night. And Krug is going to get pretty much second place if he keeps this going. But man, what a turn of events going on here tonight. Austin Russell. This is going to be pretty much a testament to that 49 points difference that he had on Micah Floretta. Because if it was decent enough, he still will have it locked down. And same thing with this battle between Bobby Krug and Brendan Lauer. We're not 100% sure, ladies and gentlemen. We do believe that Lauer will still have this championship locked down no matter what. But you can't ignore the fact of Brendan Lauer being stuck in the back of the pack, about middle to back of the pack, and Krug being able to pretty much pick up 2 podiums tonight, if nothing else happens. And then Floretta currently sitting in the 4th place spot, and he's just really much dusting Austin Russell. So we see the trend here with the even position guys gaining up on the odd number guys. So it'll be pretty close as we see white flags out on Evan Stommer, and we'll see where the position is for all the top 4 in points. Like we mentioned, Krug and Floretta at the top part of the pack, and Lauer and Russell towards the back. So it's very, very much not like what we've seen the rest of this season. So it might be an upset to the points, but I'm a little bit more concerned with the battle between Floretta and Russell, whereas Lauer has so many wins under his belt. And it looks like this is where they're going to finish, as we got pretty much a straight line throughout the pack. Not much of a battle going on anywhere. Evan Stommer is going to take the checkered flag here and sweep the night. Bobby Krug's going to wind up second, and Adam Ward is going to get your 3rd place spot. And here comes Brendan Lauer to the checkered flag. Assumingly, he will be your winner tonight.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time? And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows, only time?
As we see there, Brendan Lauer, Bobby Krug. This is, according to what they've been saying, their last full competitive season in the iDrive series. And so they're kind of sharing their moment there as their last iDrive race together as the Lauer Krug racing team. Very emotional night for both drivers in that respect, as they'll both be battling and going at each other's necks November 4th for the Margay sponsorship. Brendan Lauer already announced that he's going to be competing in the Margay racing team next year. Bobby Krug, we're not sure what his deal is, but he's definitely going to fight hard for that sponsorship, as we see the drivers congratulating each other. Austin Russell coming up to Brendan Lauer, and then Brendan and Bobby. Tough night for those drivers, as we'll take a look here at the finishing order from that race. As we said, the top 3 were Evan Stommer, Bobby Krug, Adam Ward. Micah Floretta got that 4th place spot. And then we see Brendan Lauer in 8th. Austin Russell down there in 11th. So it'll be interesting to see where these drivers will actually end up in the point standings.
Okay, the white flags. Top 14. So then you count top 10. Winning 3rd place by 1 point, Micah Floretta. Micah winds up 3rd. Come over, Mike. Micah gets 3rd in lights. Micah has already announced today will not be available for the championship round, so you don't have to worry about Micah. Meet up on you guys on November 4th.
Good job, man.
He narrowly beat out Austin Russell by 1 point after all the drops. In second place, with 1,046 points. He got a good point finish tonight, Bobby Krug. And your champion for the fall, Brendan Lauer. Tonight, beats out Krug by 26 points.
Good job, guys.
Where did you come from, man?
Yeah, here we go, Johnny. Good job.
Okay, guys, congratulations. On November 4th, we'll be contacting you the week before. Make sure you'll be here. Moving on to heavies.
You're up there.
And Mark
Standing by here with Mr. Austin Russell.
He's ineligible. but-
Very sour night for you. We just heard the news that Micah Floretta had got the third place finish in points by 1 point. Talk about your night and how's that feel, and are you going to be back out here next year?
Oh, definitely.
Mark will be busy taking pictures on the
It's
fourth
tough.
when you guys are
One
beating up
point,
on each other.
but you know, it's racing happens. It was a good fought battle.
Thanks again for attending that.
Yeah, congrats to Micah. He definitely deserved it. He ran me clean all season long. I had no
Also,
complaints.
light guys.
He deserved it for
And
sure.
heavy guys.
I can't even remember one time we had an incident on the track where I was upset with him. Hopefully he felt the same way about me. But yeah, 1 point, man. One spot on the track. You know, 12 races and he came down to one spot. You know, as far as tonight goes, you didn't want to blame it on the first race tonight.
The race on the
You
fourth.
don't really want to blame it on one certain thing. And in the end, everything kind of runs together. You have 4 drop races, so you got to stay consistent with yourself. So you don't want to point the blame on anywhere in particular. But tonight, though, I was very frustrated with how race 1 was handled by race control here. I've never had an issue here. We piled up there on lap 1 of the turns. And I got on the brakes trying to check up for the wreck. Just kind of got ran in the back of and spun out, and got hung up on the curb down there. And apparently the yellow was thrown. My case was 2 weeks ago. We had the same exact issue happen, different turn, and the yellow was thrown. Everybody got to catch up. For some reason tonight that wasn't the case, so I was kind of pissed off about that. You know, if you're gonna make a call like that, make it consistent. You know. But it is what it is. Still fun to run backwards. It's a new track, super fun track to run, and guess we'll look forward to the championship in 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll have nice weather for it and good crowd and be a good race.
Austin Russell, 4th place finisher in points. Look for him to be a threat coming back here November 4th for the iDrive Championship and the Margay sponsorship.
Jesus Christ, it's Bobby Krug. Yeah! Bobby Krug here with his 2nd place trophy. Not quite first, but better than 3rd. That's how 2nd place goes.
Usually.
Tell me about your night and tell me about what this performance in the championship standings means to you going into the championship round.
Well, going into tonight, I pretty much had the 2nd place locked down. It was just, a matter of, how close am I going to be to Brendan, how close am I going to be to Austin or Micah. I had a pretty decent kart selection tonight. I finished 3rd to Micah. It was me, Micah, Lodicki. We all had a great battle that first race. Race 2, I would have frickin' beat Evan Stommer, which would have been a huge deal to me, and because he's always coming out here and dominating, in the rentals and in the Ignite series. So a little mistake happened there in the regular turn 3, and I got sideways, lost ground to him. I was catching back up to him, but it just wasn't enough for me to do. 2nd place, I'm very happy about. Me and Brendan formed our team last year, and to be able to come out here and me get my first place of the first season this year, and for him to pick up a first place after his tribulations of just finishing 2nd in all the series and finally get that first place going to the championship is a huge thing for him. And I feel pretty confident in my abilities going to the championship too. If I don't, I'm gonna announce it on this video, if I don't get the sponsorship, I pretty much retire from the Carplex for at least a year, 2 years. So I hate that. I'll probably be out here, seeing people, visiting and stuff like that. Maybe come out for a ride and drive. But I've had a great time out here. I just want to thank everybody that's helped me out here, specifically the iDrive boys, Brendan specifically being a huge friend to me. Don't want to get too emotional, but after high school, I lost a lot of friends, and going into college, I wasn't quick to make friends. And coming out here and meeting the people that I did, it was a blessing to me overall. And this is very competitive, but just the emotional aspect of coming out here to the Gateway Carplex was a huge deal. So just thanks to everyone out here that's supported me and given me great friendships, and look forward to the championship on November 4th.
Touching words from Bobby Krug, looking at the emotional side. After an incredible run, came out of nowhere and started just dominating the iDrive series. First in the spring, second in the fall, first in our hearts. Let's go to get it in the frame. Let's get it in the frame. Is it good enough? You get the, yeah.
It's not focused. It's not focusing.
It wasn't focused the whole time.
You're fucking kidding me.
Oh, no, it was better than that.
Standing by here with a very happy Brendan Lauer after years, many seasons of the iDrive series, too many second place finishes, finally led to a first place finish. Brendan, talk about your fight to get that trophy, and what does this mean going into the iDrive championship for the Margay sponsorship?
I am so goddamn relieved. It felt like an endless thing where, oh, you just got to get a little bit better next year, a little bit better next year, and it was never paying off, and it finally paid off. So I could find 100 different ways to say it. I'm just finally happy I got a 1 on a trophy, and I didn't mark it on there with Sharpie. So happy about that. Tonight it was actually my worst night of the entire year. I haven't finished this bad since probably the first league I did at iDrive, actually. A 7th and an 8th. So, I mean, I could complain about that, but they immediately get dropped from points in the first place. So I'm gonna look at the obvious positives. Is I'm gonna get more Carplex credit, which is very, very nice, because money is an object. And I get some confidence going into the championship round. Now, whether I win it or not, I'm going to be in Ignite next year, so I'm just super interested. Since we completely wiped the slate, everyone's on the even playing field, and we get 3 races to decide who's going to get it. I can't wait to see how it goes down. Obviously, I've got my favorite, Austin Scott, Micah, Bobby. But, yeah. I can't get my thoughts into words, mostly because I'm an idiot. Don't laugh at me, that's very mean. But a lot of joy. I'm trying to bring it up and forget about shitty shit carts. I shouldn't have said something about the carts. I always say something about the carts. I lost to really good drivers is actually what happened. I actually did lose to good drivers. Evan's a beast.
And me.
You were there, yeah, totally.
Anything else you'd like to say for this this interview, or you?
No, I'm pretty good actually.
Okay.
Are you good? Do you need anything else?
I feel pretty good.
You trying to get content like demonetized?
And Brendan Lauer takes home your first place trophy in the iDrive Fall League.
I really hope I didn't just talk about the first championship I've ever won. It didn't work.
Oh well, that works. Thank you, Brendan.
Little dick. Oh wait, no, it's
Jack Diane.
I thought it was gonna start.
2 American kids growing up in the heartland.
Yeah. I was gonna get it wrong anyway. But I was still recording.
There's focused. Not really. Well, whatever.
Bye.
Thank you.